Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Tonight, we are talking about 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie out of Pima County, Arizona. Her family says that they went to her home at 11:56 a.m. Tonight, we're going to be speaking about what did they see when they walked in? What did they first check? And what did they call? When did they call out the 911 call for her? There seems to be a time gap that we need to look a lot further in. There's some very interesting things that we're going to talk about tonight on the other side of this.
I've walked through storms in scars and grace. Smile through pain with a painted face.
Moja Girl, welcome.
They called me too loud, too much, too strong. But honey, that's the reason I belong. Every scar's a scripture, every tear's a hymn. I found my worth where the light grew dim. They tried to break me, but here's a twist. I turned my pain into a clenched fist. I'm an unbreakable woman, born of fire and pearl. I shine like grace in a reckless world. You can test my faith, you can shake my plan, but I'll rise again. Just watch me judged by the gloss, not the cause. But God don't build weak hearts from gold. He made me fierce and he made me bold. I bend, I pray, I roar, I rise with mascara, tears and battle cries. Don't need your crown, I forge my own. From ashes, honey, I build my throne. I'm an unbreakable soul, dressed in truth and pearls. The fire don't scare me, it lights my world. You can doubt my voice, but you'll hear my name. I'm holy and hood, and I'm done with shame. For everyone called too much, too loud, too real. You're not to anything. You're exactly what power looks like. I'm an unbreakable soul through the fight and flame. My scars are stories, my strength, my faith. Faith in my heart, fire in my curls, forever divine. Clutch them pearls.
Let's go.
Coming in clutch, better tighten them pearls, dropping cold facts. Got the truth for the world, no smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch. Coming in clutch, better tighten them pearls, dropping cold facts. Got the truth for the world, no smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch. Coming in clutch.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mama. Good to see you, Mama. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. Let's rolling in, please.
Coming in clutch, better tighten the pearls, dropping cold facts. Got the truth for the world, no smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch.
welcome, and thank you. Well, hello, 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 everyone. Good to see you all. Thank you all so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options, anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is very, very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is May 11th, 2026. It is currently 8:11 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Arizona. Good to see you all. Hello, beautiful pearls. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. We're talking about the Nancy Guthrie case out of Pima County, Arizona. And we are past the 3-month mark now and still yet no arrest. But tonight we're going to be talking about a 46 minutes or so time frame that is very interesting. Our friend Chris from the interview room did a live stream last night, and we're going to get to some of that here in just a little bit. But there was a lot of conflicting reports whenever, I mean, there still is a lot of conflicting reports in this case. Uh, People say different things. That there was about an hour that was when Tommaso and Annie allegedly called 911, and then there's reports of 8 minutes. Chris, and I fully trust Chris with his information 100%, um, seems to get some intel on this, and we're going to talk about that. I thought it was one of the best lives on the Nancy Guthrie case that I've actually seen. So make sure you guys sub up to the interview room. Link is provided in the description. We're gonna go over that in just a minute. Guys, before we get started, if you would be so kind and please do me a big favor, hit that thumbs up button or double tap that screen if you're on the mobile. Consider sharing the live out on any of your favorite social media. Copy that link, drop that link, copy, share the link. I don't even know what the hell to say. Please share the link out on your social media. And also, if you would consider hyping this video after the live stream, would greatly, greatly appreciate that as well. Let me say hello to a few guys. Hey D, good to see you. Lovey, peace of Jesus, good to see you, my friend. Miss Shannon, how you doing, girl? How you feeling, baby? Good to see you, Christy. Good to see you, Bo. Hello, darling. Or good to see you, my friend. Lovey's house. Hello, darling. And hey, babe, good to see you. It was an amazing live because my mind was exploding and I've got a lot of commentary on this tonight, exploding whenever, because after we heard the hour and then it was 8 minutes, I thought, okay, we'll just go, with the 8 minutes. But, 46 minutes or so. Also, Marine was on there last night. And who else? Of course, Karen and others was on there last night. And just really good live. Yes, I agree. Thank you so much. Jinja, good to see you. Got to get more coffee. Girl, get fueled up. We got a lot to talk about. Laura, good to see you, my friend. Miss Shatty, good to see you. Lisa, hello. Mama Bear, good to see you. Thank you for saving all your hypes just for me. I feel special. Thank you so much. Peace of Jesus. Good to see you, my friend Tina. Hello, Miss Mary. It was an amazing live, amazing live. And I've got a bunch of my thoughts here that I've got to talk about, and a lot, a lot. So get ready for it. Hey, Raw Beanie, good to see you. Baby, good to see you as well. Good to see everyone. Hey there. Deborah Christie. I feel like if I don't say hi to all of you guys while you're coming in, I feel bad. Good to see everyone. I love you all so very much. Also, I need to show you something. Um, did y'all see this? Okay. Ooh, what's this? Someone just sent this to me. Patriot did an interview yesterday and talked about two individuals. They robbed a jewelry store, um, precious stone shop in Colorado, and haven't been found. Also, the gem store that was going on. Let me just show you this real quick. Someone just sent this to me. Um, this was shared on Facebook. Excuse me, 58 minutes ago. Patriot Pride YouTube did a video yesterday, and they talked about these two individuals. They robbed a jewelry store and precious stone shop in Colorado and haven't been found. Also, the gym show was going on in Tucson when Nancy disappeared. Yes, that is true. And the guy in all white has a leg injury, just like we think the porch guy does. I don't think the porch guy has a leg injury, in my opinion, but that's just me. Remember how he bent so weirdly? Yes, but I think, in my opinion, the reason he bent so weirdly is because he had multiple layers of clothing on. Um, and it is interesting about the precious jewelry, though. I will say that. I remember the Google searches from Colorado about Nancy and Savannah's salary. Also, a guy who looks like one of them, black and blue top, walked by Nancy's house on a live stream. I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that, to be honest with you. I mean, if this guy walked by Nancy Guthrie's house uh, beforehand, and the law that is, no, that's not the same guy. Sorry. No, it's not. No, not the same guy. No, no, completely different. But that's just me. That's just me. Earlier in the week, someone knew. I hadn't seen this. That's very interesting, though. So, also, there was something that, who was it? There was a CFA message from the president 2026, Catalina Foothills Associates, dear. If anybody has this, can you send it to me? I asked them to, I couldn't find it where, if anybody's got this, could you send it to me? It's just blurry. I can't read it. That Catalina Foothills Association. I wanted to read that, guys, to you as well. Thank you so much, Roseanne. Appreciate you, my. Thank you, Miss Julie. Thank you so much for your support. Appreciate you. Good to see you, Miss Helicopter Mom. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Good to see you, my friend. And thank you for being a member here on the Pearl family. Really do appreciate that. Marnie, good to see you, my friend. I think I need new glasses. Appreciate you, my friend. Good to see you. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for being a member here on the Pearl family. Really do appreciate that. Jerry Lynn, 12 months, 1 whole year. You're an OG. I love being a member here. Well, thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate you very much, Jerry Lynn. Thank you for your continued support. I really can't do it without you. And Miss Helicopter Mom, thank you for gifting 5 new pearl necklaces. Really do appreciate you, my friend. If you receive one of those, make sure you thank our Miss Helicopter Gal. Really do appreciate that, my friend. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Hey, Miss Michelle. How you doing, baby? Good to see you. Thank you so much. Very generous of you. Hello, Justin and everyone. So glad to join y'all this evening. I have been, oh, goodness, honey. I'm glad you are better now. I think it's that time of year, Michelle. I don't know what you've had, but all the pollen and stuff that's happening. And I think I had like a stomach bug the other day. I was not feeling it. It's just, who knows what's out there nowadays. You know what I mean? Glad you're on the mend, though. Thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate that. So, I think the last time we spoke about Nancy Guthrie, we were, I think, FBI Director Kash Patel came out and was speaking about kind of blasting the sheriff. And of course, the sheriff came out and spoke, you know, defending his decision, if you will, and all of that. But make sure you sub up to the interview room. Our friend Chris and Karen from the interview room. I've got certain timestamps here that I want to talk about. So make sure you go watch it all if you haven't yet already. That link is provided in the description as well. We're going to start off at 20 minutes, 43 seconds. This is an amazing, amazing interview. It's one you definitely don't want to miss, in my opinion. And I've got some comments on some certain things. We're going to be talking about that. 46 minutes or so. What really happened after Tommaso and Annie showed up? Did they call quickly? Did they not? What did they do after they searched the home? How did they miss certain things? This really scratched my brain last night. So here we go.
And in fact, the sheriff has cleared the family.
Allegedly. Right. The sheriff has, but we've not heard from the FBI. So until the FBI says we agree with the sheriff, then we're also going to show you a video where the sheriff says everybody's on the table.
And listen, you know, a lot of people has a lot of different feelings on this case. Some people believe, again, 100% with sheriff, that the family is 100%, you know, and everyone is innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. You know, and some people have taken their theories off the table. I personally, in my opinion, I have not taken that theory off the table. I agree with Chris on this. And until the FBI clears someone, I'm not following Sheriff Doofy, Sheriff Nanos. Not going to happen for me personally. Again, I will be the first to say, the absolute first to say, that I do not believe this is Tommaso or Annie, for that matter, at the porch. But again, to me, that doesn't mean at the end of the day that there couldn't potentially be some sort of involvement. Again, not blaming them, but we don't know. Many Panthers, thank you so much. Oh, appreciate you, my dear. Thank you so much for being the best, because I love you, my friend. Oh, thank you so much. I love you too. Much love to you, my friend. Good to see you. Glad I'm not going to be the jury in Arizona. Just saying. I know, and I think Sheriff Nanos has done a very big disservice to this case because of some things that he said. Again, I find it very interesting. I feel, just my opinion, it's just an opinion, I'm one of 8 billion on the planet, that the reason Sheriff Nanos cleared very quickly was because I felt like there's pressure. Literally the day before, he said, nobody's cleared, comma, not even the family. The next day, the family's cleared. You should be ashamed of yourself for thinking that.
The way we're asking questions.
We're only asking questions tonight. Okay.
Same here.
So
only asking
in that 56 minutes, we now know that
Okay,
certain
listen to
narratives
this.
are being driven in that 56 minutes. Okay. And so I want to ask the panel, what have we individually heard?
Okay. Now, again, Sheriff Nanos said it was about an hour before they called. And then we heard that it was about 8 minutes. But again, as I was showing you guys the other day, it was just about 8. What was it? Damn, what was I going to say? I had it right there. It left me. Um, I'll think of it in a second. Thank you so much, Summer Breeze. Appreciate you very, very much. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, my dear. Appreciate you, Miss Summer Breeze. Good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you very much, and thank you for being a pearl. I appreciate that. He, as soon as he says this, again, I'll remember it.
Are being driven in that 56 minutes. Okay. And so,
Oh, okay, that's what it was. The only narrative that we really have is the one that allegedly Tommaso and Annie told us. If you go back to the timeline, when the report was filed, right? When the report was filed, it was filed at 6 p.m. on the 31st. 6 p.m. on the 31st, which means law enforcement did not take Annie and Tommaso's account, because the last time that apparently when this report was filed, the last time they knew Nancy was alive, safe, happy, healthy was at 6 p.m., which was when she was getting in that Uber. And I think that is a very, in my opinion, big key distinction right there. 6 p.m., not 9:30 p.m. when she is allegedly dropped off. The garage door opens for 2 minutes and closes. Also, I think Maureen speaks in here, which I had spoken about that. We had checked on it. It takes about, for some of the older garage doors, about 20 seconds for the garage door to open and 20 seconds for it to close. It's about 15 to seconds for the newer garage doors, but 15 to 20 seconds. You also have to take that into the account of the 2 minutes of that garage door opening as well. That's something very interesting to talk about again. We'll get to Annie and Tommaso told responding police officers Nancy called an Uber to take her to, yes. And again, we're hearing different stories, different narratives, right? And things should not be changing. But what I will say in this case is there's a lot of reports, and there's a lot of conflicting reports as well. So I want to give, that out there too. So there's that. Here we go.
I want to ask the panel, what have we individually heard?
Your little black bear.
And then we're going to bounce that off of what the investigators probably heard. And we're hearing today, I know there's been some reporting about, the narrative that was being driven. We've heard from, well, let's first listen to Savannah.
There should be no narrative in a case, first of all, right? There should be the truth.
Called me.
Listen to this.
I said, is everything okay? Mm-hmm. And she said, no. She said, Mom's missing. And I said, what? Yeah. What are you talking about? She said, she's gone. And she was in a panic. I was in a panic. I'm like, call 911. Yeah. She's like, I did. We called them. They're here. And we thought that she must have had like some kind of medical episode in the night, and that somehow, the paramedics had come because the back doors were propped open,
Again, so this is the thing. Let's just think about that for a second. If there is this medical emergency in the nighttime and Nancy was taken to a hospital, once she was at the hospital and she's there alone, they are going to call the next of kin. She has a pacemaker that can always identify who she is. Her stuff by her bed, right? Purse, insurance card, everything like that is by her bed. So they would be calling next to kin. And I'm sure Tommaso and Annie would have been notified by then, right? So, I mean, I understand in the moment you might think, because you're trying to come up with a situation, right? I get that. But to me, it's a little strange. It's a little strange. And especially, we've said this other part ad nauseum, but if she had called 911 in the night and police are there, right? Because Savannah just said, we've called them, police are here, right? That tells me, in my opinion, that police had been there a while, a little bit, at least a few minutes at the very minimum. Because when police get there, they automatically go to you and they're going to ask you all of your account, everything that you know, everything like that, right? Like they're going to say, when did you get here? What did you see? What did you discover when you got here? And you're not. That's why most people call before. They call their family members, right? Friends, neighbors, before they even call 911 a lot of times, especially before Annie and Tommaso got there, right? Before they got there, I would have been calling, hey, have you talked to mom today? We're on our way over. Or before I got in the car, even, have you talked to mom today? When's the last time you heard from her? Church lady that she goes to church with said she didn't come over. It's a little weird. We just dropped her off at 9:30 last night. I would have done that. But afterwards, right after they had already called police, and the police was there, according to Savannah, we called them, they're here. They're going to take all of that information and you're going to have to talk to the police for a minute. They're going to talk to you. So that tells me that the police had been there for a little bit of time, in my opinion, until they called Savannah. How long? I don't know, but you've at least had to tell police something, right? You're not going to call police show up, and then as soon as they show up, you're not going to get on the phone while they're just standing there looking at you, asking, why are we here? What's going on? Right? So there's that. Nana, thank you so much for the gift, my dear. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you so very much, my love. Really do appreciate that. And Miss April, thank you so very much. God bless our Pearl family. Thank you, Justin, Mods, and Pearls family, for supporting me. Thank you so much, April. Appreciate you. 5 months. Prayers, light, and peace, light, and prayers, rather, from Texas, y'all. We love Texas. Thank you so much, April. Really, really do appreciate you. And Summer Breeze, good to see you, my dear. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for your support. Justin, this case will turn out just like Lynette Hooker. They released the boat too early, and now it is contaminated. Again, a lot of these cases where they mess up early, a lot of them, it makes it so much more difficult. Yeah. Here we go, guys. Oops. But just like she said, I just want to play that little part right here where she says, I've already called. Police are here, which means she has spoken, or one of them has spoken, allegedly, to the police already.
But in the night, and that somehow, the paramedics had come because the back doors were propped open, and that didn't make any sense. We thought maybe they came and there was a stretcher and they took her out the back, but her phone was there and her purse was there and all her things. and it just didn't make any sense. So, you know, Annie and Tommy had already called all the hospitals, but then I'm like, I'm going to call the hospital. So then,
Okay. Right. Again, that means that, okay, let's think about this. That means when Annie and Tommaso showed up, they went to the house, went inside the house, looked around the house, allegedly looked in the neighborhood, called police, right? And allegedly called the hospitals before they called any of the siblings. Can it happen? Sure. Is it likely? It's not the way I would work, but everyone's different.
I started calling the hospitals, and the police were there and talking to her at the same time, and it was just chaos.
Okay, so
Okay. She says, I was there, or the police were there. Hold on. How did she say that?
So then I started calling the hospitals, and the police were there and talking to her at the same time, and it was just chaos.
I started calling the hospitals, and the police were there talking to her at the same time. And it was just chaos. I guess maybe multiple phones. I don't know.
okay, so that's a pretty sincere statement.
I agree.
Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Disagree?
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely 100% feel horrible for Savannah. I don't know why anybody would blame her, because the woman has nothing to do with the disappearance of her mother. I think she's might be very, very confused, or even manipulated. But she doesn't have anything to do with their mom's disappearance. Miss Dolores, thank you so much, my love. Good to see you, Miss Dolores. Thank you so much for your support, honey. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you for being a member.
Right? I mean, I think very sincerely, she's listening to her sister on the phone tell her, look, this is what's going on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know the time frame of when that actual phone call occurred, but I have to assume it's within the 3-hour block.
Listen to this.
Of the cop, well, we know the cops were there, so it's got to be in the 2-hour block. Okay, so I'm going to break this into two buckets again. The 2 hours of the search and rescue, which Bob, you have talked about extensively, and the incident command. Let's talk about when the 911 call comes in, okay, and that particular time frame, and then Karen, what else are you thinking?
Well, our sources have
listen to
shared
this.
with us that the family told the responding deputies
Mm-hmm.
that they arrived at the house.
Mm-hmm.
They looked around the house. They
Mhm.
couldn't find Nancy. They looked around the immediate neighborhood, which doesn't mean they searched the neighborhood. The inference was like exterior of the house. They didn't
Okay.
find her, and that was done before. And then they called 911.
Okay, so they get there. They see something is weird. Back doors are open. We don't really know the entrance that they went in, but clearly something was going on. Back doors open. She's not there. The main factor. They search the house, search the yard, and we'll say canvass the neighborhood. That's the word I'll use, which doesn't necessarily like an in-depth search, but they're looking around the neighborhood in this time frame, right? Miss Wendy, thank you so much for 23 months. You're an OG girl. Thank you so much. I love the channel. We love you, Miss Wendy. Thank you so much for your continued support. Really, really appreciate you, my friend. We can pick apart every single word that they say, but in reality, is this a family freaking out over their mom disappear? This is a family freaking out in their disappearance, in my opinion. I'm not sure I'd be thinking rationally if I were in their shoes. And you're right, Pugs. You're absolutely right. And this is the thing I always say. Even if someone is 1,000,000,000% interest in these cases, not everything will always make sense to us. Not everything. Nothing is going to ever be perfect in any case. Zilch. A lot of people expects it's going to be, but that's just not life, and that's just not how things work. Very, we're humans, we're imperfect, all of that. But to me, it's never just one thing, really. It's questions of continuous things, right? And for me, it may be nothing, but one thing that is very questionable, in my opinion, is just the factor that the timing of how this happened, about, she went over to family members, had allegedly a dinner, and this game, she went over there with an Uber, but she's also dropped off in this allegedly 2-minute time frame that just is very weird to me. And we'll talk more about that here in a second. So that's what's, and it's also on a weekend. Again, I do not think for a second that Annie or Tommaso was at that house at the 2:00, hour in the morning at all. But to me, there's still questions, I mean, if you've watched my channel, you guys, I personally believe this person in this photograph is out of the country right now.
Okay,
and awfully
so
quiet.
if that is a narrative that was shared with the police, and we've got this firsthand from investigators, okay, what does that mean for 56 minutes? Does it take 56 minutes to do that, is my question.
And then
Okay.
the obvious question is,
Okay, 56 minutes. Again, Sheriff Nano said an hour, and then we are told 8 minutes that they called. 8 minutes is reasonable. I don't know if 56 minutes is, but listen to this.
What does that mean for 56 minutes? Does it take 56 minutes to do that, is my question.
and then the obvious question is, was the blood seen on the stoop?
That's the obvious
Was it
question.
or wasn't it?
That's the obvious. Thoughts?
Okay. Was the blood that Inton first told us, I don't know if some people say that he was the one that actually discovered it. Some people say police discovered it. Regardless, did the family, I mean, if the family saw it, obviously police would see it, right? But did the family discover this blood during the time frame that they were there at the house looking for Nancy? Or did they pass it up? Either way, for me, like, you can be in such a frenzy, in such a panic, looking for someone, that you can miss a lot. That's very common when people are panicked and get to a scene and they see something going on. They don't notice everything because they go into a full-blown panic and they're looking around and doing all kinds of things and their mind's just not there. So they could have easily missed it. Don't know.
I don't think it's that long. If it were me doing it with Tommaso, yes, that's a very long time.
Listen to what Maureen
Or
says
if it
here.
were just one person who was really effective and fast and systematic, I don't. I just think that Annie walks so slowly. We saw her coming down the driveway. Every time we see her, she just moves very slowly.
I thought this was a great observation by Maureen about Annie's movement.
And if you're going through an entire house and walking around the casita in the back and walking to, outside those little gates in the back to look, and then you're walking very slowly down the driveway to look down the street and maybe go to one neighbor's house.
Well, good question. Joko says, what about the glass and the rocks? That's a very good question, right? Did they notice the glass, the rocks? Did they notice the back light broken? Or did they just notice that she was gone and that the back doors were open? We don't know. Because everything that's been put out is, for what we know, the account of what Annie and Tommaso told police.
Could see that taking her 56 minutes, but with both of them there and Tommaso being young and fit and whatever, that would almost cut that time in half for me. So at that point, it starts to look like it's an excessive amount of time for all that to happen before they call the police.
Right. So this is not one person. This is not one person searching for Nancy. This is two people searching for Nancy at this property and allegedly canvassing the neighborhood. So that should cut that in half. I think we can all pretty much agree on that, right?
And to your question, I would say yes, the blood was on the front stoop.
So you think they definitely saw that?
Well, if they didn't use the front door often and they didn't even go out the front door and they went out the garage door, the back doors were propped open, so they would probably assume that's how she got out no matter what happened. Walk out there, open the garage. They probably opened the...
Okay. Now, I can understand them going in the garage door. I can get that. You usually go through the same door you always go through when you enter a house. But once they get in there, right, and they see that there's something wrong. Nancy's not home. She's not in her bedroom. She's not answering when you're calling out to her. Mom, Nancy, however they addressed her. And they're looking around the house, right? And then you discover back doors open in the house, right? You discover back doors open. Once you discover that back door open, you're probably going to walk through that back door because it's open and that piques your curiosity, right? You're going to go through the door that's open because it's open. Maybe she's out there. That's the way I'm going to head. I don't think you're going to go back through. You're just not going to walk through those doors and you're going to go back to the garage, open the garage door, most likely again, whether it's a button, a keypad, or whatever, and go back out that way. You're probably going to go back out. You're going to go out the doors that are already opened because it piques your curiosity.
Garage when they pulled in. Is it an excessive amount of time? I would say yes before I would call the police, because even if it is a walk away, the cops can help you find her, right?
Yeah, and
what- yeah.
which leads us to an observation. The garage.
Okay.
Okay. There's a
We've spoken about this garage too. One thing that I've spoken about is this broom, the way it's laying, this bottle. This could be from the scene. I guess the broom could be too if they're sweeping up something. But I just don't think that Nancy would keep a broom in a bottle like that. Also, another thing that I notice is that she keeps a trash can inside of the garage as well. There's trash cans outside in the little section over there where the dolly is, close to the garage. But there is also a trash can that she keeps in the garage. Now, Chris is going to talk about these Duraflames. He makes a very good point about this.
A couple of things I want to point out here in the garage. Number one, if you look at those Duraflames in the back there, there's a whole case of those Duraflames.
Yeah, those logs. Yeah.
Now,
She does buy a lot of those.
we
Duraflames.
know for a fact that an 84-year-old woman is not going to move that case around. So it would be
Right. Those Duraflames are very, very heavy boxes. I don't know if you've ever lifted them, but they're very, very heavy. She is not going to be able to lift those boxes at all.
logical that somebody strong enough would be able to move that box of Duraflame around. Okay. Now it looks like it's in place, that particular box, but if you'll look in this next picture here, you'll see that those Duraflames are stacked up in that garage. But the most important piece I see here, look at the foundation and the door going into.
Okay. See, there's all those Duralogs right there. There's a box, and then all of these are individual wrapped Duralogs. I just checked something, by the way. The Duralog, it depends if they're high performance or a standard Duralog. A standard Duralog weighs 4.5 pounds, and the larger Duralogs, the high performance, they weigh 6 pounds each. So these either weigh 4.5 pounds or 6 pounds each log. So obviously I would suspect that whenever Nancy did a fire, she put these in by herself. I mean, I don't think she could call someone every time she wanted to throw a log in the fire, right?
The garage into the house. That is at least an 8-inch foundation. So that means there's a step there.
Do you guys see that?
Yes.
I'm going to back it
Yeah,
up.
And I didn't even notice this. To me, I didn't see it as a step, but there's a step here, right? And this goes right into like her dining room area. We've got pictures of Nancy and Savannah and all of them sitting at the dining room table that I've shown.
Mm-hmm.
If you can see it to the back wall there, you can see the foundation clearly behind the logs. If you're looking at the picture, it's to the left where the little white looks like some type of
Tray
stoop.
table or something. Yeah.
Yeah, some tray table or something. But look at the thickness of that foundation. And then you can clearly see it here now.
Hold on a second. I want to go back. What is this? What is that right there? Does anyone know what that is right there? To me, it looks like an air conditioner filter, like one of those air conditioner filters that you wash or something. You see what I mean? Let me make it bigger for you guys. What are those? To me, it looks like one of those air conditioner filters or something. I don't know.
Foundation. And then you can clearly see it here now. All right.
I can take a
The reason I
screenshot,
think
hold on.
this is,
Let me go back. Yeah, I'll take a screen. We'll zoom in. Let's see here. We'll look at it. Here we go. Check this out. What do y'all think that is? Something metal is all I can see. I don't know. But you see, when you see, it seems to be a few of them if it is. Like, I don't know what it is. Oh, it could be a water hose. Yeah, I think that you might be right. Maybe that's just shadowing. Maybe that's just shadowing right through there. Well, there's a box on top of it, right? There's definitely a box on top of it, but I don't know. It could be air filters. I thought it looked like air filters, but then there's other things on it, so I'm not really sure.
and then you can clearly see it here now. All right.
Hey, wow.
The reason I think this is, for
we've
me,
been
when I saw
busy.
this, I was like, well, wait a minute.
Busy.
Mom was dropped
See.
off in, whatever the time, 9:58. And then 2 minutes
But to me, it does. I mean, to me, when you're zoomed out like this, it doesn't look like a water hose either. I don't know.
later, she's
9:48.
9:48. Thank you. 2 minutes later, she's in this house and the garage door is coming down.
Hold on. I need to go
Right
back.
here.
1
Time-
second.
9:58.
Listen
And then
to
2
this.
minutes later, she's
9:48.
9:48. Thank you. 2 minutes later, she's in this house and the garage door is coming down. But she has to navigate that step. And if we're thinking, okay, well, she's just dropped off and she walks into the house,
Could be Linda.
what if she would have fallen? If this 80, if she's 84 years old, and she's dropped off.
And again, you guys can think what you want. I think this 2 minutes is very strange. It's dark. Even if they pull right up to the garage, right, and they open, and Nancy opens the door right to the garage, and she turns on the light, or the headlights are in there, whatever. I don't want my 84-year-old mother-in-law walking with a cane in the dark, trying to get to the light switch in the garage, or just walking through the headlights and then stepping up on there and then going in a dark house. I'm going to make sure she is at least at her chair, at her bed, wherever she needs to be. I think it's weird. I do. 2 minutes. But it may be nothing.
Well, I'm getting the impression it's kind of like this.
I agree.
Yeah.
I thought Nano said at the beginning that the family got her in the house and got her settled. Did
Well,
I not
yeah.
hear that?
He sure did.
No,
Yes.
you're right. He
he
was
did.
at, the reporter asked him, what did family go in the house with him?
Yes. And he says, the family.
And
His
answer-
response was the family's. Yeah, sorry, Karen.
That's
His
exactly
response
right.
was the family saw her into the house, or actually, I think he said Tomas. Well, no, he said the family.
So, yeah, chaos. I went through this on a live stream a while back ago. It takes for the average time for the newer garage doors is about 15 seconds. The older garage doors about 20 seconds. That's to open up fully and then a full, we'll say 15 to 20 seconds to open up, a full 15 to 20 seconds to close, depending on what kind of garage, kind of motor it has on it.
They saw her into the house.
So at the minimum, right there, it's 2 minutes that this garage door was opened and closed. That's at minimum, we're just going to say 30 seconds.
If I remember that right.
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 So now she would have dropped off and going through the garage. If she's got her cane, she's got to do a step and then push that door in, negotiating her cane to get in.
Locked, by the way, or open. Typically, people leave their garage doors open. I mean,
You mean unlocked. Let's get
Unlocked.
specific.
That's
I
right.
don't like open because it means too many things. It's either locked or unlocked.
Yeah, good point.
Okay.
Good point. So unlocked. I mean, I don't. I lock my garage door when I'm home, but typically during the day I leave it open.
Unlocked.
Unlocked.
It's a bad habit. I know. Trust me. I'm trying to
Unlocked.
break it myself.
Okay.
We just need to be specific so people can visualize what we're talking about.
Okay. What do you guys think of now that we see she's not only has to negotiate a somewhat of a slope,
Well,
a moderate slope.
So but that's what he said. Got to be. I never heard that the family, whatever, went in with her. Then how come the garage door and the closing time is 2 minutes? You're getting, yes, you're following it. I don't get it. Although I also don't believe that they would let her go in alone. So Sheriff Nano said that the family went in with her, and then a timeline comes out a few days later, and they said the garage door was open for 2 minutes. So he said that, and then a timeline came out, and then we learned about the garage door only being open for 2 minutes.
But now there's an internal step that she has to step up onto.
Okay,
Go
hang
ahead.
on. I just had this thought. So let's assume her car is parked in that spot,
Yep.
typically. If she's dropped off, now it's a much smaller area to get out of the car, her daughter's car, and to pass her car and get in using a cane.
Which you brought up the next point we're going to point out. Look at the positioning of the car. Okay. It's almost in the way of getting clearly to that door.
Correct.
So I find the positioning of the car really interesting.
I have not heard that Nancy left her doors open. I know the neighbors left the door open. You have to walk through the house too. Then why does she lock the front doors and has multiple locks at rest? I don't believe Nancy left her doors open, in my opinion. I just don't. If the cars pull into the garage, 2 minutes is the time for her to get out of the car, open the back door, or if she's sitting in the front, and go in. Then T just backs out. Watch a timer count down 2 minutes. It's longer than you think. It is longer than you think. You're absolutely right. A lot can happen in 2 minutes. And you know what I think would clear it up? You know what I think would clear a lot of it up? Is if they released the Lyft or the Uber video, seeing Nancy getting in, but specifically getting out. And I think it is John Lamb here. He makes a point here in a minute. You know, it's harder for people to get out of the car generally, especially if they've been sitting for a few minutes, right? Especially an 84-year-old. But again, that 2 minutes, she might have just, believe me, I personally believe Nancy made it home and that something happened after she got home. I do. And a lot can happen in 2 minutes. I absolutely agree. What I don't agree with is, like Chris said, just not going in, not making sure she got in safely. You know, they are essentially the caregivers to Nancy. I would not want my mother-in-law walking in a house, her own, anybody's house, by herself at 9:30 at night. I just wouldn't. I think it's just not good, in my opinion. It's not what I
Interesting
did
for
with my
somebody
grandmother.
who is having a difficult time because of age, getting around.
But this
Now,
is after the car
a lot of
was
people aren't
returned by
ginger.
law enforcement, correct?
No, this is the FBI evidence response team in this picture.
This would have been in the first couple of days of
So
the
it was
investigation,
before they
correct?
So it's
removed
before
it?
it was
I
towed.
believe it was
haven't even
before
towed-
they towed it.
They haven't even towed it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Your guys, Maureen.
so
That's your-
Nancy,
They're not dressed like
Nancy-
PRT people.
They've got the black trucks out in front.
let's
Might
have
assume
been
Nancy
Tina?
parked the car there. And go back to that picture with the car. She's parked it in a way. She's got plenty of room. She's got a couple feet over to the right side, but she parked it fairly close to the door and in direct line with the door. And so I would think that she does that routinely. And she gets out, she uses her cane. She might even, have the car parked that close in the event that she falls, and she can fall up against the car.
I think that's a very good point. It could be a way to push yourself up even on that little step there, if she would fall or trip or whatever.
And then she makes that step up into the door. I'm not too bothered with that step.
either.
I mean, I see your point, Chris. It's definitely there, and she has to navigate it. But
There is not proof of anything, Lori. There is not proof of anything, right? Everything we know is essentially what either law enforcement has said or what allegedly Annie and Tommaso have told law enforcement. And they're going allegedly off what Annie and Tommaso has told them. Apparently, I don't know if they do now or not, but if they have even Tommaso dropping her off, you know what I mean? Summer Bree says, Justin, I hear you. My mom had a fall at 82 years old and broke her femur in 3 places. Oh my God. Sadly, never walked again. She passed away at 85. Yeah. And Summer Breeze, that's truly amazing. She lived another 3 years. Breaking it in 3 places after 80. After you break, I mean, some people live another, it just depends the health of the person, but generally after 80 years of age, you have generally less than a 75% chance of living another year. Yeah, it goes down significantly.
considering where the car
But it
is
depends
right
on the
there,
health.
I would say that she parked it there and used it, as I mentioned.
And she may
Okay.
use the cane in her left hand, Chris,
Mhm.
and then use her right hand to touch
Generally
along
less than
the
6 months, yeah.
car, which is something I was saying when they first removed the car. Like, why would they? Well, they obviously didn't know whether or not it was in play in some way, shape, or form, but also there could have been some smudging or some
That's amazing,
movement or
Brenda.
something along
God
the
bless
side
her.
of that vehicle, because it's my understanding that the cars there get very dusty very quickly. And so, she may use it as a balancing mechanism for her right side.
Mhm.
Perfect. I love it. And which is going to tie into the narrative. Because you guys are agreeing that there has to be some type of potential, balance if there's an obstacle. And in this particular situation, we have an obstacle. So the car in rational thought process comes into, well, that could be used for balance. And as well as a cane. Go ahead, Johnny.
I have a question. The expression that Sheriff Nanos used, which was saw her into the house.
Yes.
Does that mean that they accompanied her into the house?
This is a good
Or
question.
does that mean that they stood by and watched her go in the house?
Great
And if it was
Now, I was thinking about this, and since he said this, think about this. Think about this. We could be just highly judgmental right now because some things don't make sense. He could have pulled up right here, right? And saw her walk right into the door from the garage. He could have. Think about that, right? You could pull right here, garage door goes up, and she could walk right in that door. But the way Sheriff Nanos said it, it made you kind of think otherwise. But I think that is a great point that John made here. I can see that happening. Again, I would have still walked her in, but everyone's different.
accompanying her into the house, the 2-minute sequence seems to me to be extremely abbreviated for the family to accompany her into the house, make sure she's settled, and then leave.
You just can't. I just don't think that. From what I hear, he did not go in the house. Allegedly, there was no going in the house. It was she got out, door opened, she went inside, and he backed out.
Yeah.
Unless he walked out the front door, but that doesn't make sense either because he parked outside by the garage.
Supposedly, the garage door is open for a period of 2 minutes.
Mhm.
Right.
But
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
what Sheriff
Hey,
Nano
Warren.
says is sees them into the house. We don't know precisely what that means. Whether it was literally saying they watched her go in the house,
I don't think he said
or they
this.
accompanied her into the house.
My sister has mobility issues too, and we talked about this over and over.
Yes, this, yes, Clad. And this is a very, very good point, right? So this 2 minutes that happened, it had to have been on an app because there was, they were able to see where this was opened and closed for 2 minutes. So like my garage door, right? I have either the clicker where you push, it opens the door, you push, you close it again. Or I have outside of my garage a keypad. I enter a combination, right? And hit enter, it opens, hit the combination if I'm outside still, and it closes. I also have an app thingy if I'm not at home and I need to let somebody in or whatever. I can use it from my app. If you use the combination, or if you use the clicker, it doesn't give you any sort of, there's no logging information. It just sends a signal. There's nothing that would verify a time or anything. So it had to be with some sort of app, right? My app tells me how many times it was opened, if there was a failure, how how many times it was open that day, how long they were opened, all of that. So it had to be something like that.
And she's much younger than Nancy. And she said, Maureen,
because we don't have the time when Tommaso and Annie showed up. However, they opened the door.
if you drop me off outside that garage, I could not make it up to that door and in that door.
Okay, listen what Maureen says right here.
And she's much
Go in the house, or they accompanied her into the house.
My sister has mobility issues too, and we talked about this over and over, and she's much younger than Nancy. And she said, Maureen, if you drop me off outside that garage, I could not make it up to that door and in that door in 2 minutes. There's no way.
And I've got to say from personal experience, from my wife, who the final 5 years of her life had to use either a walker or a cane because of the Parkinson's disease. When I hear 2 minutes for her to get into the house, when we know that Nancy was not really super ambulatory, that has always impressed me as a very, very narrow time element for somebody to get in the house, particularly since there's always the issue of moving from being in a sitting position to standing up. It's not like you jump out of the car and walk right in. So I think that regarding Sheriff Nanos's observation or his statement regarding dropping her off, it basically semantically means nothing. All it says is, all we can derive from it is that they were there.
Okay.
And Chris, didn't you say when you going back to your point about the 15 seconds and how long that takes?
All right. Do you think that the 2-minute garage door opening and closing is enough time for Nancy to enter the home? Put a 1 in chat for yes, 2 in chat for no, 3 in chat for unsure. It will automatically add it to this poll right here. Whatever you put. 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for unsure. I'm very torn, to be quite honest with you. I am extremely torn on this because I think you can do a lot in 2 minutes. And then I think it just seems a little weird. So I truly don't know. You know, I think she could get in 2 minutes if she was, you know, able to, but I also think Tommaso not going in is a little weird, but again, we might be able to see her walk, you know, in from where Tommaso's parked right there. The headlights are showing right on the door. And again, I also think it's kind of weird that it was right on the weekend and they were having that dinner that evening. So I am really stuck on that part.
Early on, I timed the garage. I think I was on your show when right before I did that, but wasn't it 18 seconds for the door to go up? So it will trigger. So we can almost carve off 18 seconds from that 2 minutes.
Right. And that.
See, Maureen says 18 seconds. Like I said, which I done a live on this probably a month ago on those doors. It might be 15 seconds for newer doors, up to 20 seconds for older doors. So hers is right there in the middle.
Which is going to lead us into the next piece of this.
Hang on a second, Chris. I want to weigh. Yeah, I want to weigh in on it. So if I'm Tommaso and I'm bringing my 84-year-old mother-in-law home that has mobility issues, I'm going to walk her in.
It's very interesting you just said that. Let me see. I just found this video. I can't play the music, but look at this. We'll come back to this. Let me take this credit down. I want to show you this video of Nancy. And again, I think this would be great if they released. They did this. Access Hollywood did this. For Mother's Day for Nancy, which was very sweet of them, in my opinion. But there's some, I can't play the music, but see, she's holding on something right there. You see that? I noticed that right here. Oops, right there. And she looks a lot better here than she did whenever she went missing. You see here, you can tell she's aged very quickly here. Right? She's went downhill, definitely. Oops, damn. Sorry.
It's you.
That makes me want to cry when I hear little Nancy's voice when she says miss you. That freaking breaks my entire heart for the family. Just Nancy.
Miss you.
She is such a sweetheart. God bless her. Now, look at the height difference right there. Did y'all notice that? How tall was Nancy again? I can't remember. But look at the height difference between Annie and Nancy. That's a big difference. Now, of course, as we get older, we shrink. Right? We shrink. Is she sitting? Okay, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that makes more sense. Maybe that makes more sense. She's sitting on her lap? Maybe? I don't know. Is she? She's sitting on her mom's lap? Like still you can tell there's a big difference. I think I'm shrinking already. I know, me too. Me too. Let me look up. Look back here. Yeah, because look here. Not that big. Savannah's probably in heels. Well, they're both in heels, actually. So, yeah, she's got to be sitting there. I saw that, and I'm like, that's big height difference. And, of course, this is Nancy and Cameron. 5'4", which is, I would say, an average height. 5'4", 5'5" for a female. Look at that. That's so cute. I love her kissing Savannah right there. You can just see the love. And is that Nancy? To me, that doesn't. I mean, maybe her hair was different back in the day, but you can tell like she's older right there, right? And this, by the way, is the door to the garage right there. This was her dog that died. And you can, like, Nancy's so pretty right here. You know, this is her college, when she was working at the college days. And right there. So, but yeah, I did notice, like, when she turns around here. From there to here, this is, I think, one of the most recent pictures Savannah has of her back in, I think that was back in the fall of 2025. A person went to HS. Oh, please. No, I did not, girl. Where did you send it? I gotta see that, sister. Did you email it? If you have not watched this, he has a lady that went to school with Luke at about 1750 in the What did they say about him? What did they say about him? Oh, I'm gonna have to watch that. I'll look at that. I want to know his little. I got it. Thank you. I want to know where his little passport is. Makes you wonder about her going downhill so fast. Well, I don't know. Really, 2 foster brothers. I'll have to look at that. Very interesting. Okay, we're going to get back to this. I've got some stuff with Luke. Not Luke. Okay, you're talking about Luke. Sorry, I'm thinking about Z. Sorry, I was thinking about Z. Yeah, I can see he's what am I doing? He is a foster child, and I think there's something. I still think that there's something. I don't think the FBI made a mistake. I just don't.
Inside, and I'm not just going to open the door and then leave. I'm going to walk in, make sure that there are lights on. She most likely, in fact, I think we've heard this, that she has a walker inside the house that she uses to get around. And I think at 10 o'clock at night, it's obviously dark out. I'm going to, take a little gander through the house, at least the main area of the house, just to make sure everything is
exactly
copacetic in there. And then, Mom, do you need anything? Okay.
I mean, whenever my grandmother, I took care of her till the day she died, whenever before she moved in with us, when I would drop her off, I would always go in. I would check under the beds. I would check the closets. You would do all of that, not only for your peace of mind, but they're old for their peace of mind. I would make sure she was in her recliner or in her bed, make sure she didn't need anything, make sure she took her medicine, just all of that stuff. And these are the people that was supposedly caring for her. And this is 9:30 at night. So, yes, Crystal, now that you guys are speaking about the LD, the report, I've got reports. That's all I can say. I've looked into some of that stuff. It's very interesting. I know what you guys are talking about now. Thank you so much, Ocean Breeze. Makes me feel fine. Thank you so much, my God. Appreciate you. You received that. Make sure you thank our dear Ocean Breeze. Really, really do appreciate you very, very much, my love. Well, Pebbles, I mean, you just don't want them to. You just don't want them to worry. You don't want to worry, and you want to make sure, at 80 years old, you do not want them breaking a hip. It is, like I said, almost a death sentence. Not always. I'm not saying it's not, but it is almost always.
Okay, I'm going to take off. Love you. See you tomorrow. That's what I think a normal man would do when he's dropping his mother-in-law off like that. So
maybe turn on the light in the washroom.
And mother-in-law, father-in-law, I don't care who it is. My mother-in-law I mean, we take care of her now, but because my father-in-law passed of cancer a couple years ago, and she had cancer 2 weeks later. Was diagnosed with cancer 2 weeks later. We had them both. But you just, how do you not do that?
Room or something, you know, to
Exactly. Yeah.
Ask if she needed anything before he left. You know, you don't just throw the door open
Right.
and say, "See ya."
here's your hat. What's your hurry?
Yeah.
And you know, and we don't know that Tommaso didn't do that either. He may have done that. But to your point, Chris,
Mhm.
it seems like a 2-minute window would be not even close to enough time to do that, all of those things. And when Maureen says that, you know, the 18-second rule on the door going up and down, because I'm not pulling out of the driveway until I know that garage door is down and stays down. We've all had our garage door go down and then something trigger it and it goes back up, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know. That's just what I'm doing, and I think most men would do that. Hopefully, Tommaso did that.
I was just
But-
corrected in the chat by one of the commenters who said that she timed it also at 11 seconds. So I don't remember which one it is, but I'll go with her 11
I agree with Maureen. It's 15 to 20 seconds.
seconds.
Well, Bob, to your point, if all that was done and we're all saying logically it would take more than 2 minutes, something's not adding up. Either the data point isn't adding up of what we're being told,
Mhm.
or it took longer, or it didn't
He went out
happen.
the back
They're going
door.
to say
A, B, or
Or-
C.
or he went out the back door, Karen.
If he went out the back door, then he walks back around to get to the car in the garage, parked in the garage driveway. Is that what you're saying?
Okay.
Because when he pulled up afterwards, if you recall, when we saw
I took a
him a
screenshot.
month
I'll
after
look it
the this abduction or whatever it was took place, Tommaso pulled up the straight driveway where his driver's side door was near the garage. The garage door was here, his car was here, and he pulled it up almost up against the casita. So people tend to replicate activity. It seems like that's where he parks when he pulls in there.
Yes.
I'm not saying that's where he parked when he dropped Nancy off, because that wouldn't make any sense for her
Right,
to
it took
be.
longer.
Yeah, he would have to nose in there. You're right. It looks like, in thinking about it, Karen, he'd have to nose in there, so his car would be right out there. And I don't know the distance from those back doors to that little area right there.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, if we're to believe that 2 minute, I guess what I'm saying is, my question is that 2 minutes accurate? And based on what we're talking about of what a logical walk Nancy in and get her in the house, we're saying it would take more than 2 minutes. So
I don't know.
we are questioning the 2 minutes that
We are questioning the 2 minutes. I don't know about the 2 minutes. Most of you guys think that it would take more than 2 minutes. I don't know. I really don't. I'm just trying to remember, you know, wheeling my grandmother in from the garage. Did it take more than 2 minutes? Maybe. But I had to like wheel her in too, so she couldn't walk.
we're being
most of
told
the time.
from 9:48 when the garage door goes up to 9:50 when it comes down. Would that be accurate,
It
Chris?
would take a
Right.
longer,
Which was
probably.
kind of the problem that we've discussed here multiple times about the next morning. I mean, we don't have a data point in any way, shape, or form about that garage door being utilized to when they show up.
Simply Real,
You know, to go-
that's a very interesting theory. I've thought about that, and I'll tell you my opinion on that. Simply Real says, I heard another idea. What if the porch guy performed his part on camera to be the boogeyman? Then he took his mask off, knock, she opened the door because she knew him. In my opinion, this did not happen. Just my opinion. And I will tell you a couple reasons why. Number one, the boogeyman, if you will, That's all we know him as right now. He was there the 11th as well, wearing the mask, right? He was there wearing the mask. He was also there certainly the night Nancy went missing, obviously, but maybe even on the 26th. I don't think that this guy is going to pull off his mask. And also, if you look at the video, the part we can see, I'm not going to pull it up right now, but if you look at the video, you can see even the locks on the door. If he would pull off his mask, you can see the whole area rug right there. You could see his face. They could see his face. If this guy pulled off his mask, we wouldn't probably be here right now. I think FBI, law enforcement has a lot more footage that they just haven't released. And if they pulled off his mask, I don't think we would be here right now. I think they would have already made maybe an arrest, or if he did pull off his mask, because you could clearly see him pulling off his mask and, you know, Nancy opening up the door or whatever. It just doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean?
Look for mom.
Like, and I'm sure that they've gotten a lot more footage back. I would hope so. The FBI with Google, if they had his face, him pulling off the mask, why wouldn't they just show it? You know what I mean?
At no time have the authorities released information yet.
But we do need just about every theory. We need people to think, because listen, if this creep can figure out how to do this, you and I can figure out. If he can think of this in his mind, how to pull this off, we can think how he did it. We just got to figure out the steps and how he did it.
About whether or not they even opened the garage door when they got there at 11.
Chris, let me ask you, if this
They
was
had
your
56 minutes to do it, it sounds like.
if this was your case and you were investigating, would you release the Sunday morning data point to the public?
Yeah.
And you would give them that information?
Yeah. I think there's going to be a couple of things I would have done differently, but this is just me.
Hypothetically. Yeah.
Hypothetically, I would have told the public, and John, keep me in line here. We've done these things.
Even after the camera was pulled off, right? Even after the camera was pulled off, why did he pull off just that one camera? Why did he just pull off that one camera? Why did he not pull off the cameras inside? You're going to see what Chris plays here in just one second.
Many times. At this point, we have an 84-year-old woman who's, it appears she's disappeared out of the home. We have blood on the porch. The investigation is ongoing. We don't have any suspects or personal people of interest at this point. However, we will fill you in and give you updates as we go along. That's it. And when they say, well, how did she say? Well, she was discovered by her family as being missing. And right now we're investigating that, and we'll keep you informed as we start to make progress. Next question. And that's how, right? I mean, that's what I would want you to do as the PIO. I don't want you to go out there and, and do this.
Disbelief.
I've said this before.
How cold did it get?
Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I wouldn't have given a timeline that strict. I would have been very vague.
Okay, I'm going to fast forward to our next.
We've got to just did that.
Yeah, great points.
Well, that's information that was deliberate or accidental, but that's information that the garage opening and shutting that night, I'd have kept that just off the table. Just speaking for myself.
Well, and
along with the doors being opened in the back.
Yes.
Yeah, great points. Great points. And one of the things that we're going to show tonight is just that, that vagueness that the sheriff gave. And one of the most glaring pieces of the puzzle was when he was asked, well, is there blood anywhere? He goes, I'm not confirming if there's blood inside or outside.
Well, that's a big yes.
Well, but this is how he operates. I guess
Yeah.
where I'm going here.
He's
This
all right,
is
listen
his.
to this
This
right
is
here.
his MO. And as a result of that, if this is his MO, why is he saying the family's cleared?
Going back to the 2 minutes, and we talked about staging, and this is just a question. This is not an accusatory statement, but somebody staging a crime scene like that might stand at the outside buttons of the garage door and tap their toe for 2 minutes and then push the button and have it close. Okay. So, did that happen in this case? I don't know, but I think it's a relevant question under the circumstances.
So here's my thought to that. And I'm not disagreeing with you that could be a possibility. However,
Absolutely, Mike.
I'm not in the camp right now that the blood was staged.
Well, Julie, it's not for lack of trying. A lot of us, I think they even make a point up here that a lot of us have tried to FOIA 911 calls and all of that, and they deny you instantly. And I don't think it's going to come out. I don't think it's going to come out. You can keep challenging them, but they can say it's just part of the investigation.
I am in the camp that there are two buckets, and that the second piece of that problem, meaning I believe that Nancy was
That's a good
taken,
point, Jacqueline.
Forcefully out of that house at this point. The more I've thought.
Okay. What do you guys think on that? I think we'll do a poll on that. Do you think Nancy made it to the house? Yes, no, unsure. What do you guys think? Do you think Nancy made it to the house? Put a 1 in chat for yes, 2 in chat for no, 3 in chat for unsure. It will add it to this poll right up here, whatever you put in chat, 1, 2, or 3. I don't want to tell you my belief until I see yours. And I'll tell you mine. Wow. This is interesting. In my opinion, I believe she made it to the house. I think she made it to the house. I agree with Chris on this. I do believe she made it to the house. I do not think it's staged. Or I think there could be some staging, but it doesn't mean she didn't make it to the house, if you will.
Thought about the problem, meaning I believe that Nancy was taken, forcefully out of that house at this point. The more I've thought about this, the more I've studied it personally.
I agree.
And this is just my 2 cents. I think there is a staging element to this, but that's bucket number 2. And this is all the.
I agree. I leaned more towards
the inconsistencies post 11 a.m.
I don't either. Yeah, I don't either.
Not before 11 a.m. I think it's pretty clear right now. There's something going on with the video, with the disconnect, with all the other stuff going on, with the blood on the porch. It's pretty clear that something happened the night before.
I would say there was alcohol at dinner, Holly. I mean, we don't know that for a fact, but I do know Nancy loved a good cocktail.
It's also clear to me that she probably knew who the suspect was Because I've studied all of the videos
Listen to this.
in that area around.
I think this is such a good point Chris makes right here. And this really got my brain scratching right here. Listen to this. And I agree.
Because I've studied all of the videos in that area around that time. And guess what? All the videos that are available, not one other suspect is wearing a mask.
And that's such a very good point, if you ask me, right? All of these videos that has been put out in this area of people doing suspicious things in the night, right? They're all not wearing masks, right? They're all not wearing masks. Clearly, this guy obviously knew there was cameras, especially if there was a blackout period with some of the cameras, and they're not wearing any mask.
Not one. Even the guy walking backwards with the similar type of backpack with the hat down, all that stuff, neighbors, around the corner. So that means this guy is unique. This guy sticks out even further now.
Okay, where does this nighttime meds come from? I would like to know that. People are always talking about the nighttime meds. Why didn't she take her nighttime meds? Where does that come from? I don't know where that comes from.
And to me, that meant almost like covering the victim's face and stabbing them.
What do you mean?
I'm
What are
not
you
saying
referring
that's what
to?
happened.
Okay,
I'm saying
so I don't think I think a lot of people confuse Chris right here. So a lot of times, if you know your victim, if the person knows the victim, right, they will cover their face, particularly after they're dead, because there's an emotional attachment to them, and they don't want to see their face. But Chris is saying here, this person covered up because they didn't want maybe Nancy to know who he was. I think personally there was a lot of cameras there, and he didn't want, I think Chris could be right, obviously, but I also think there was a lot of cameras there, and they didn't want him to see on the cameras.
there's a personality, or there is a familiarity with the victim, with Miss Guthrie.
Oh, Nano said
And
her
the
meds
whole
was still on
reason
the
for
counter?
the costume is because the suspect is known to her and she's known to him.
It's a shock and awe situation. Remember when that video footage first came out?
Nano said her meds was still on the counter. Interesting. You would think she would have taken it, but maybe she, didn't want to walk back in the kitchen, and maybe her pills were beside her bed. She just popped, the bottle's open. Who knows, but it's likely maybe she didn't take it. Savannah said it. Maybe I missed that.
We all gasped.
I've heard it, people talking about it, but I
thinking
didn't know where
what
it came from.
poor Nancy went through when she saw this thing. But
Yeah.
to your point, Chris, about
How many of you guys can remember when this video came out? It was we've seen it so many times now, but it is so creepy that this cretin was there doing this to an 84-year-old woman in the middle
mask.
of the night.
He also had on 2 pair of gloves. Now, I wore 2 pair of gloves a lot working a crime scene, but I did that regularly. I trained that way, and I did it because your hands sweat when you're working a crime scene. But
Yes, Maureen makes a very good point here. if you are a criminal and you don't double glove, you're dumb. But in this guy, in my opinion, clearly double gloved, and he clearly has more than one thing of clothes on. He's got at least 2 sets of clothes on.
But that night, it was the cold. I think the cold temp was 43 degrees. You're not sweating. I'm wondering if he had really thin fingers, or, like, because sometimes with latex gloves.
I don't think he's got thin fingers. I think one thing I noticed about him, and even with the gloves on, I think he's got fat hands. If you
or with those nitrile gloves,
hands,
you can see perfectly the what the hand looks like. And if he's got hands that are, dissimilar to other people in some way,
Can't
shape, or
imagine.
form, you might
Poor
be able to see
woman.
that through those nitrile gloves. And I also said from the beginning, I thought he had 2 pair of pants on, or
Yeah.
some
You
kind of and
And you can see everyone nodding there. They're obviously all shaking their heads. I think the guy's got, pretty thick hands.
and something under his.
And he's, even with the 2 sets of clothes, which will add to you. You know what I might do? I might put 2 sets of clothes on and do like 1 set of clothes on me and then another set of clothes on me. I've got pants similar to this guy, actually. And see, I mean, it's going to make you, so like in the, I live in the mid-Atlantic part of the United States, and it gets very cold here of the winter. It snows and all of that. So we, especially like if it reminds me of like a kid when you're going out sleigh riding, or you're going to be outdoors for a long time, you'll layer up, as they say, and it does make you look bigger. But even that, I think this guy, I don't think he's heavy set by any stretch of the imagination. I do think he's thick, especially like in his thighs and his badonkadonk.
Even in the front, it was, to me, it was a costume. And I've learned from Dr. Bricado so many times that when there's all these extra things, it's an issue. And I think that's what you're talking about here, is there's just a lot of extra.
Yes, there is a lot of extra. And like I was kind of speaking earlier, it's not just one thing that should make your, wires go off, that something is suspicious. It should be a multi-layer, multi-factor of little things that adds up.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
like
and
I was
that's
saying.
and that's what
Maybe
I've been
stalky.
thinking
That's
as
maybe a
well.
good
I
word.
mean, and it's really interesting that when we go back and we really start analyzing this even further.
No, I don't know about if his left hand is bigger. I don't think about that, but I do with every fiber of my being. And we spoke about this. This is a right hand holster. Why did he put it like this? People call this Mexican carry. I believe this guy is left-handed with every fiber of my being. We looked at the video and how he uses his left hand as his most dominant hand. And I believe he put it there because it's a right hand carry, but he is left-handed. So he puts it in the middle right there so he can have easy access if he needs the GUN, right? So right hand holster, he's left-handed though, and that's why he could grab it out of there. And pray to God that this man is left-handed, because, and if I'm sure the FBI knows that by now or not, because if it is, that significantly takes down the not as many people are left-handed.
It's like, why is this guy doing all of this? What is going on here? And the more I studied, the as we all know, geographical profiling, right? I mean, what's in that neighborhood? What's going on months before?
I love your comments, Jason. First, I thought it was LD because of the no neck thing, but then thought it might be the car guy who claims he ain't been in the country since 1862. Yeah. Yeah, he's my number uno right now. And again, show us that passport, Mr. Z. Show us that little stamp on that passport where you haven't been in the United States since 1862, as Jason.
And there's no indication that anybody else doing Holmbergs, or hot prowls, that they're wearing a disguise. No, I mean, we've got the Amazon people, with the fake, coming in with the package. We've got the guys, trying to throw the
two
backpacks over the
He's
hood
wearing
there.
jeans, a jacket, and I think a baseball cap.
But everybody can see the guy's face, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and so to your point, Maureen, that is a great point. Why all of this extra? John, you're thinking, I can tell.
I was just going to say, when you pointed out, now he's wearing a balaclava, and we've all dealt with hot prowl burglars, which, just to reference for maybe your new viewers, that was the expression we used. It's also cat burglars have been used. These were nighttime entries into occupied residences. I've never seen one. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I've never seen one wearing a mask that would cover the ears, because one of the things that sort of burglar requires is an ability to hear potential people in the house.
And he's right. And the ears is a very distinctive feature on a person. But again, what I'm about to show you, in no way am I saying this person is guilty of anything. Don't contact, harass, dox, bother him in any way, shape, or form if you know who he is. But if I'll show you, this is to me very interesting. Right there. And right there. And right here. But that's just an opinion of mine. Again, it's not a fact, not blaming anybody. Just, I think that's interesting. That's all I'll say. But again, like Jason said, he claims he has absolutely nothing to do with it, and he hasn't been in the country since 1876 or also 2019, I think it is. Deb, did you miss the members only? Did you miss the members only? That's Mr. Z. We're being a little sarcastic. He says he hasn't been in the country since 2019, I think it is.
Operates on stealth.
But, you know, his social media and says that he's been in the country since 2019, and there's, you know, a car dealership aspect to it, and there's an apartment complex as well. But again, he says he hasn't been here since 2019. He's been very quiet, from what I understand, since he last interviewed, and the FBI also spoke to him. What did Joe say? Oh God, what did Joe say? LOL, LOL. It's probably not the one you want me to see. Is that Chris? No.
So I've heard people say, oh, it's just a burglary that went wrong. If it
No.
is, it was a first-time burglar, because an experienced top-prow burglar would never dress up that way. The other thing they need to do is be able to run fast if they're caught. Does this guy look like he could run fast? I mean, maybe he could briefly and then have a heart attack. But so I would reject the notion that it's a burglary gone wrong by a guy who was doing a hot prowl.
And just to add to that, to John's,
it seems like, and again, I don't want to speak for them, but the way that they're going to speak up here, I think particularly Maureen, it's like, and I really wonder if Nancy made it out alive. I don't know.
point, with the
Like,
having
out of the house alive.
needing the ability to hear, that device that's in his pocket is a two-way radio. It's not a scanner. How's he going to listen to a scanner? There's no way. That
You think it's a female locked and loaded? I think it's a chick hiding her boobs. You think she's got her boobs taped down or something? I don't know.
makes no sense to me whatsoever. It's a radio. And anyway, that just came into my head when he was saying, talking about hearing, and I agree with that completely.
Because how long does it take a police officer to listen to the radio and understand what they're saying?
It takes a while.
It takes a long time, and it's all numbers. Yeah.
And that's a very, very good point, right? This is an incredible point, and I still have never been convinced that this thing in this guy's pocket is a scanner. I just don't think that, because, and what they're saying here, I'm just not convinced it's a scanner. I mean, there's probably scanners that will look similar. There's a billion scanners. There's a billion other things out there that looks like it. But if it's a scanner, police talk in code. Yeah, we got a 34 here, something like that. They don't. I mean, I'm constantly, when I'm looking at listening to scanners and stuff, I'm always pulling up their department, seeing what their codes are. I just don't think that's this guy.
The
Code.
California vehicle codes and everything else.
And
yeah,
it's
assuming
loud.
he had the right frequency, assuming he, they didn't, assuming the call came over the radio.
Well, someone just texted me, Nancy had to get home. Remember, Savannah said she heard her begging. I don't know if Savannah, did she say she heard her begging, Miss Linda, or is that like she was thinking, like, I'm envisioning her? I don't know.
Nowadays, a majority of the calls come over the MDT and not on the radio, unless it's a in progress call in most agencies. So, there's a huge assumption there, and those that are in the camp that was a police scanner, I just totally disagree with that.
And what channel were they on?
Angela, some people think that this guy's a prop. I don't think he's a prop, personally, at all. What is the thought behind analyzing the time at the drop-off? Well, people are, wondering, did she really make it home? Was Tommaso only there 2 minutes? And this guy being a prop, I don't buy. Particularly Again, this guy was allegedly at the front door on the 11th with a mask on, dressed very, very, very similar. I don't think this guy's gonna be a prop, 2.5 weeks prior. I just don't.
Who was he supposed to listen
Yeah.
to? Which channel? That's what you said
Yeah,
earlier
Pima
about.
County Sheriff, they probably have a net with
I agree.
25, 35, maybe even 50 radio frequencies throughout the entire organization, and he's going to choose the right one to listen to. There's just no way. That's too far out there for me.
I agree.
Me too.
Maureen, to your point about the double gloving, my thought when I saw it, heard it was, well, he maybe was planning on doing something inside the house where he needed to get the first pair off. Something potentially, just saying it, potentially bloody as an example. And he has to get that first pair off. And then he's got his second pair on. So he's not leaving prints on the way out, grabbing the door handle, whatnot.
Lori Pepperson, you are pocket dialing. Lori, you are pocket dialing. We are in your pocket right now, and we are stuffed in here. Okay? You need to get us out of your pocket, ma'am. It is getting stuffy in here. You got to get us out of your pocket.
And I would agree with that, but the pair underneath was one of those. It was rather fluffy. In other words, it looked like those neoprene gloves with the little dots on the bottom that you get for a 2-pack at Costco. So his DNA would have been on those. That's not the same thing. I could see definitely wearing 2 pair of nitrile gloves, but
That's okay, Miss Lori. Let me tell you something. I've, different creators I mod for, and you should have your phone being a mod. You block people sometimes on accident.
be able to see the fingers
think you
much
go
more.
rogue.
When I first saw the images, I was live on Megyn Kelly's show, and I had to look at a very small little thumbnail on my little screen, and it looked like leather gloves, like fur-lined leather gloves is what they look like from far away at first. But then it was very clear to me once I got a better look at them, that they were those nitrile gloves
Okay.
with
I
in the
want to
most
show you
nowhere.
something else right here.
Dang it. I just want to run for the audience real fast. Just a quick, timeline again. The night of the disappearance, 9:48. We've talked about that. 1:47, the doorbell camera. 2:12, the security software detects movement. No video saved due to lack of the subscription at the time. 1:28, her pacemaker monitor app.
I can see it being a two-way radio before I can a scanner. You know what I mean? I can see that before I can being in the scanner.
Disconnects from her phone. A key
228.
indicator. What's up? Oh, 2:28. Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. And it disconnects from her phone, a key indicator of when she may have been taken. We don't really know that. And now we have the difference in the time frame. All right. This is a perfect time. Guess what? We're 56 minutes into the show right now.
Okay.
Look how much we have talked about and how much.
Okay. This is a very good point Chris makes right here. They're 56 minutes into the show where they're talking at right there. That is allegedly how much time it was before allegedly Tommaso and Annie called the police. That's a lot of time.
Much we have done in 56 minutes.
Yeah, you can do a lot.
All right.
It's a long time.
And I mean, we could probably have all run out to our garages, pressed our buttons, run back in, gone to make a sandwich. We probably could have gone bowling. Okay. That's a joke. Okay. But that said, okay, there is a lot that can be done in 56 minutes. So I want to know what was done in that 56 minutes. And I think this is why the sheriff has been so vague, because they wanted to know, the initial investigators, what was going on for 56 minutes. We know what Savannah said.
He's going to bring up
We know that the police were there when
what
the phone call was made to her
very
by her family, because she says, it was chaos. The police were there. They had already called 911. They'd already checked the hospitals, etc. But now this is where it's really important to pay attention to what the sheriff says.
Listen to this.
And so I'm going to walk everybody right back to the very first night and listen carefully to the audience, what he says and how he says it.
Missing overnight, I take it. She was.
Well, she was last seen at about 9:30, 9:45 last night.
9:30, 9:45. Do you know how cold it got last night? Is that a concern?
You guys are going to know
Okay.
that better.
He annoys the hell out of me right there. Do you know how cold it was last night? No, you guys are going to know more than I. Well, if you think an 84-year-old woman walked out of her house, mother chicken, I think the temperature matters.
Is that a concern, though?
Well, it's cool right now. 84 years old. I'm cold. Yeah. No, it's.
So when she was last seen, a family had dropped her off at home. Is that correct?
She was last seen by family at 9:45, at 9:30, 9:45.
And did they?
April, thank you so much for the 450 joules, my friend. I appreciate you very, very much. Nana's Butterfly, thank you so much. Good to see you, my friend. 30. Thank you for the 36 joules. Appreciate you very much. And Lawnmower, thank you so much for the 250 joules. And Nana's Butterfly, thank you again for the 2 joules. Lawnmower, thank you again for the 67 joules, 67. And thank you for the 67 joules. Appreciate you. And Nana's Butterfly, thank you again for the 2 joules. Lawnmower, thank you again for the 30 joules. Appreciate you. And Edward, thank you for the 100 joules. Appreciate you, my friend. And Sharon, thank you for the 30 joules. Appreciate you. Lori, thank you for the 10 joules. And Sharon, thank you for the 30 joules. Thank y'all so very much for your support. I really appreciate it.
See her in the home?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, he's talking about a walkaway. And the reporter's asking him. So there's two parts of this interview with the journalist.
Julian, appreciate you, mighty.
Now remember, I'm not going to give the sheriff a lot of grace here because this is fresh.
Exactly.
This is that day, that night, where the information's being provided directly.
I think he is glad.
From the reporting parties and the witnesses who called 911. Okay. And so those body cameras are going to be available one day. They're not right now. So we have to kind of, read between the lines here of what he's saying. And the first question from the journalist is, well, if she's a walk away, it's cold.
Remember,
okay.
They left Nancy's shirt outside after they allegedly had the dogs. They left her shirt outside. This is how they handle her stuff.
It's 34 degrees. Okay.
I hope they are not inadequate with evidence.
So my first thought process was, and it was confirmed through our communication. And Karen, what were your people saying?
So according to what we were told, the family told the deputies that first arrived.
Now clarify who the family is.
The family is Nancy Guthrie's daughter and the son-in-law, not Savannah.
Not Savannah, not Cameron, because
No.
they're in different states.
Right. That the family said that they thought Nancy maybe called an Uber and went to the hospital. Much different and calling 911 potentially.
Summer Breeze, thank you for the floating hearts. And Joyce, thank you for the 1,000 jewels. That's very kind of you, my friend. Appreciate you guys very, very, very much.
And going to the
Thank
hospital.
Now, a minutia detail on that is her phone is at the house.
No.
To your point earlier,
I want to make sure you understand that. No, Nancy was not without a shirt that at least we're aware of. This was a shirt that they used from inside the house to see if they could get a scent or a trail to where Nancy may have been led. But I have a feeling, hey Shannon, welcome back, babe. I have a feeling that this probably led, if it led anywhere, straight to the end of the sidewalk, where they, in my opinion, most probably put her in the car.
Maureen.
But if she was being carried or like a dolly used, maybe no sin at all.
You call an Uber for your family.
But why would Nancy
Well, I get a
call
notice
an Uber?
on my phone.
Okay.
I get a notice on my phone.
Why would Nancy call an Uber and not her family?
It's a great question, Bob. Why would Nancy call an Uber instead of 911?
Well, yeah, for medical.
Or 911.
Now think about this, guys. Yes, why would think about this? I mean, think about this. Okay, Savannah just stated just a little bit ago that, you know, she might have taken an Uber to the hospital. Why is she taking an Uber to the hospital? Who takes an Uber to the hospital? I'll wait on that, right? I'll wait on that. Thank you, Miss Shannon, for the 30 clutch jewels. Thank you, Miss Lori, for the 10 jewels. And thank you, Jetty, for the 2 jewels. And thank you, Just Made April, for the trophy. Thank you so much. Oh, goodness, guys. And thank you, Jetty, for the mystery gift. I appreciate you guys. Thank you all so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Miss Lori. Appreciate you for the interruption. You didn't interrupt, babe. Thank you so much. You're funny. You're funny. I was playing with you, girl. I knew we were in your pocket right now, and I just thought it would be funny, my voice coming from your pocket saying we're stuffy in here, because I knew you would hear it. That's cute. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, love. You didn't interrupt at all. Thank you, Jetty. Appreciate you. I'm still laughing. You need to clip that. You need to clip that saying, they were in my pocket. Hey guys, we're stuffy in here. Could you get us out?
Or the family.
All right, I got to get serious now. All right, listen to this.
Maureen, you call an Uber for your family.
But why would Nancy
Well, I get a
call
notice
an Uber?
on my phone.
Okay.
I get a notice on my phone.
Why would Nancy call an
Anna,
Uber
for the
and not
Blues
her
baby.
family?
Appreciate you.
It's a great question, Bob. Why would Nancy call an Uber instead of 911?
Well, yeah, for medical.
Or 911, or the family that is 4 miles away.
I mean, maybe there's people that calls Ubers if, you know, if they need to go to the hospital or whatever, if it's not an emergency. But there's just no, like, who's going to call in the middle of the night an Uber if it's that big of an emergency?
That is a good question. And by the way, I mean, you know, Chris and I were kind of talking about this. If you called an Uber, the Uber driver doesn't get out of the car and prop open doors with clay pots to get you in or out.
Yes, especially with clay.
I don't even think when it's a senior citizen, like my 86-year-old mom, who every once in a while does call an Uber, they don't help her in and out of the car. She has to
No,
use.
but you could put in the notes You could put it in the notes that she's
You little
not
Shayla
ambulatory. She
lady.
needs help. If you could open the back passenger door or whatever.
I don't
I
know.
think
I don't know. That's a good question. I still think it's weird that she took an Uber over there. Like if I'm having my mother-in-law over for dinner, I'm not going to make her spend $20 or $25 when I'm 4 miles away. And then they take her back, right? Like if I don't know. Like if there is any involvement, it's like it's a little weird.
you can do that.
Yeah, that is an option. Yes.
But
Yeah,
but
but-
they're not really leaving their car. The Uber driver is not assisting somebody who isn't ambulatory into their vehicle and certainly out as well.
Yeah,
Or-
it's not like calling 911 or a family.
But there is no record back, right? The only record that we have of her making it back is Tommaso's account, right? Fundaski makes a good point. Ambulance costs $2,000 for 3 miles. I go the cheaper route. When there's a hospital, in my opinion. Fair point. Fair point. That's absolutely a fair point. You're right. Some people have to be just about dead to go to the hospital because of even if you have insurance or not,
Member that lives 4 miles away.
Or
Yeah,
a girlfriend
Yeah.
or a
The
friend.
idea, the
Or a
idea
neighbor.
that
Yeah,
you would
the
you
star
call
pool
Uber in the middle of the night for an
Thank you so much.
emergency situation, the kindest thing I can say is it's ludicrous.
And leave your purse and your phone
So who's paying for the Uber?
and your watch behind.
Thank you, Miss Mary.
You're going
Doesn't
to the
make sense.
hospital, but you don't have your Medicare card.
Love. Thank
No.
you, love.
or your phone to pay for the Uber drive.
Gotta be on.
Well, you could theoretically call an Uber and leave your phone at home. You theoretically could do that, and it would charge you as it normally does. But no one.
But again, there's just no point of doing that, right? If you are, let's say Nancy did, which I don't believe for a second, but let's say she did take an Uber or a Lyft to the hospital. She didn't take her phone. She didn't take her hearing aids. She didn't take her wallet. As far as we know, she didn't, even when she was being taken out of the house, whether she was walking on her own, she didn't even take her cane, allegedly, because they say nothing, zilch, nothing was missing. If she was going to the hospital, she's going to take her phone. She's going to take her cards.
Who is conscious is going to the ER without their ID.
Good point. Good point. Wait. Barefoot. There we go. That's it. Wait. That's exactly right. Okay. I hope, Chris, I hope you're watching. If not, I need to send this to him. That's a very good point. If they thought that Nancy actually took an Uber to the hospital, they thought she went barefoot. Remember, because Savannah said, they took her out of the house barefoot. Now, I don't think Miss Nancy, 84-year-old woman, is going in an Uber barefoot to the hospital. So that's a very, very good point. What do most people think at what age is elder? Well, senior citizen is 55. That's what is considered senior citizen. But everyone's different, everyone's different, whatever, I don't know. I think age is kind of how you feel. I mean, I'm 40. I'm having a midlife crisis right now as we speak, like right now. So I don't know.
ID or
Right.
without their insurance card or your hearing aids, as
Or your
someone in the
shoe-
comments just
Or
said.
or shoes. Where'd the shoes come up? I don't know where the shoes
Yeah,
came up. I can't
Savannah.
Savannah said that. Yeah, Savannah said in her Hoda interview that
Yeah.
Nancy's shoes were by her bed, so
And
she
to that-
hadn't taken her shoes.
To that point, panel, in my mind, there's only two ways that Savannah would know that. Number one, she was told by the investigators, or number two, there's video.
And I
What do
don't.
you guys think?
Or she was told by her sibling.
Yeah.
If the sibling, if their sister had been in the house, which I guess we could speculate that during the 56 minutes they're conducting their diligent search for the mother, potentially they did notice that her shoes or her slippers were still there. But you're right, there's only a very narrow set of people who could have let her know that.
Okay.
I keep
so-
mine in the same spot. My slippers are always in.
I'm sure Nancy probably always put her, because Nancy was extraordinarily a neat person. I mean, she even was so particular about her sheets. She did a whole feature on it on the Today Show, right? She's very particular. And they're right. Think about, there's only a few people that could have said, because they never, I don't think they ever told us about shoes other than Savannah.
In the same spot.
You buy
Same.
new
I
slippers
love
every
slippers.
week.
Maureen, do you love slippers as much as I love slippers?
No, I don't even use them in Los Angeles, but I use them here because it's rural and you can't even walk out on the porch because of twigs and everything. So you have to wear slippers.
I have
But the
rabbits.
slippers I have here.
I have rabbits' feet jammies that are connected, that are all hooked up.
You
so
wear
I don't need
one
slippers.
I would love to see Bob in his rabbit foot jammies.
What? Happy
you
Mother's
were
Day,
one
ladies.
All right, sorry.
That's
guys.
quite a visual.
It's hysterical.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's scary. Here we go.
And who called in the missing report?
The family.
You won't, can you say who?
No, I don't have that name.
Okay. And
Now, did you hear that? Who called in? He doesn't know by that night. Now, just listen to that again. I want to make a point here. Hold on.
Go.
Wait 1 second.
and who called in the missing report?
The family.
You won't,
Oh, we said the family. I
can you
swear.
say who?
No, I don't have that name.
Okay.
Oh, he does. He doesn't have that name. Okay, that's what it was.
And
I'm going through some talking points for the family. I want to make sure I cover them.
Now, this is odd, right? A sheriff doesn't have talking points for the family. They have talking. They speak for the scene. They speak for the victim. They don't speak for the family. I have talking points for the family. It's like he's giving this speech for the family. How about you say what the scene, what what you can give out at the time? I find that very bizarre. It's not that he does a speech and then he says at the end of the speech, the family would like you to know this and this. Or the family has asked for privacy in this difficult time, things that they say. He's starting this, and I have talking points from FROM, the family.
I'm not somebody who does well with the script.
Okay, so now this becomes really, really interesting. When we hear a press conference
Exactly.
starting
Love
off with, I'm going through talking points for the family, and I don't do well with a script.
He doesn't
Now-
do well off the cuff either, but
I get it. Right.
You know, I took my class on.
Thank you, Anna Banana, for the stars. I appreciate you. And thank you, Lori, for sending the laughing disco. And thank you, Mama Bear, for sending the Sunday. Appreciate you. Did I miss anyone else? I hope I didn't miss anybody else. Thank you, Jetty, for the 2 stars. I appreciate you very much. Sharon, thank you for the 10 jewels. Anna Smith, thank you for the 1,000 jewels. I appreciate you. Just made April, thank you for the 1,000 jewels. Donna, thank you for the 10 jewels. Jetty, thank you for the 650 jewels. Mama Bear, thank you for the 10 jewels. Anna Banana, thank you for the 4 jewels. Marilyn, thank you for the 10 jewels. And thank you for the 10 jewels. Again, Marilyn, appreciate you very, very much. Oh, and thank you as well, Miss Marilyn. Again, thank you, my dear. Appreciate you. Thank you so very much for your support. You're very kind, guys. Thank you all very much.
PIO at the FBI National Academy from an excellent instructor named James Vance. And if Jim was still there, he's retired now, but if he was still there, I guarantee you he would use this entire case on how not to conduct a PIO operation on a case.
Yeah, we've talked about this. Sheriff Nanos has not only a very competent PIO, but their whole office and staff seem pretty competent. And the fact that he had to just barrel in there and take it all over. I mean, we've talked about this many, many times on the show. It's infuriating watching him say what he says and conduct himself the way he did. So.
Yeah, and it gets worse, right? So one of the things here, the key developments in the search efforts, and Bob, let's talk about incident command, because here's the timeline in its clarity now. 11 a.m. And by the way, you're going to hear the sheriff say that as well. Okay. At first he said, kind of maybe around there, but then later on, and I clipped it. He says 11 a.m. the family gets there and they search for a little while before.
Yeah, well, exactly. Both TC and AG should have been separated and taken to the sheriff's office for questioning, like anybody else on the planet, being the last people to allegedly see her, period. And even that, there was still allegedly time, right? Because if she went missing, a little bit after 9 or 2 in the morning, and there wasn't there till noon
for anything, and then they called 911. So we chased that angle down and we confirmed it 1,000%.
Okay,
it's 11 a.m.
Listen to this
around there, but then later on, and I clipped it. He says 11 a.m. the family gets there and they search for a little while before anything, and then they called 911. So we chased that angle down and we confirmed it 1,000%. It's 11 a.m. Okay. And so now we've been told that that's when the girlfriend's called. Well, it's actually before that. It's got to be, because they were on scene within that 4-mile radius to get to the house, like you're talking about, Bob, to look for mom. Okay. Now, could it be 11:01, 11:05, whatever? Yeah. Okay. It could be. All right. Just for the chat. Mm-hmm. But it is a minimum of potentially 56 to 63 minutes, right?
And that's a long time. That's a very long time to be not calling, especially with 2 people. Right? Oh, Mama Bear, I wish they would let like Chris and these guys help. Chris works for the Cold Case Foundation, and I really believe Michael Vaughn's case is. I give Chris a lot of the credit for Michael Vaughn's case as well.
Before the 911 call is made, and we just showed, that's a long time. That's a really long time to be looking for your mom.
Yes.
And not calling 911 right away, or presupposing there's she's abducted, there's a ransom and all this other stuff, right? Which the brother knew right away. I'm sorry, yeah, it's a
And see, baby kisses, that's the thing, right? The house is set so far back that are you going to be able to see him or Annie looking, canvassing the neighborhood for a few minutes? Maybe. But you don't know, because those lots are kind of so big, they kind of set off so far. You know what I mean? Thank you, Joyce, for the floating hearts, and Summer Breeze, or thank you, Summer Breeze, for the floating hearts, and thank you, Joyce, for the cheers. I appreciate you, my love.
it's it's a ransom. It's a kidnap for ransom. Well, is it because of me? Yeah. And poor Savannah was thrown under the bus on that. But these details, these minutia details now, it makes now.
But Annie and Tommaso, there was cameras in their neighborhood. I think they may even had cameras at their house. So if Tommaso got back, okay, listen. If, for instance, again, I'm not saying anyone is involved here or anything, we're just talking about a theory. But if Tommaso or any of them would be involved, but didn't want to look involved, they're going to make sure that they're seen on a camera somewhere, most probably, right? Whether it's them pulling into their house, on a neighbor's camera, or whatever, especially after they drop Nancy off as well. How did they know she went barefoot? Well, I guess she wasn't missing any shoes or anything like that, according to Savannah.
Much more sense, because in the very beginning of this, the feds aren't involved in this thing at all. And I've been able to say
nobody thinks
that one of the federal task force members is a member of the Pima County Sheriff's Office. He's not an agent from the FBI. That Nanos responded.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I think, but I understand. I understand what you're saying, Pugs, but this could be out of the ordinary, but the last people that she's with, and it's generally someone very, very close to home. And I think, Chris has a lot of experience too. You know what I mean? Thank you, Miss Linda. Love you, darling.
To the criticism from Kash Patel the other day by, well, yeah, they were plugged in, day one. We had an FBI.
Good question, April. There is 3 trauma centers or 3 hospitals in the pretty close vicinity of that area. I don't know exactly how many miles would want EMTs. Yes, I don't know, but I know they're fairly close within Nancy's house. I would think you would want EMTs if medical, but again, to play devil's advocate, some people would be almost dead before they would go in a ambulance. So, there's that as well. But I don't really buy the, oh, well, she might have had an emergency thing. It just doesn't.
FBI task force member there. Well, he forgot to say, but he was my guy. Okay. He didn't say, anything other than.
I thought it was weird too, Virginia, when they were covering their faces and stuff in the very beginning. Again, they might have just wanted privacy or whatever, but I thought it was weird too. I can't lie to you. And then again, keeping the cars, I still find it extremely weird that they went to their house several times. They took out things. They were in there 3 hours lighting up that house, particularly looking in that garage. And again, after they left that house that night, they went straight back over to Nancy's house, and they were looking for something in that yard, whether it was, I think they said a phone or something as well. Night, Les. And then I find it very strange the day that they were over at Nancy's, they went straight, everyone bolted, FBI and all of them bolted over in Annie and Tommaso's home area. They were looking at all the cameras. They were looking at the neighbors. They were going into their backyards. They were looking even further out, into the, not forest, but the desert area. Again, I don't know.
That. So he gave the impression to the public that it was a member of the FBI. No.
Yes.
It was a task force member assigned to the violent crime.
They finally did after a month. Yeah. Thank you, Summer Breeze. Appreciate you very much, my dear. 1 month. Justin, thank you for your coverage on the Nancy Guthrie case. When will we know the results of the mixed DNA? That's a hard one. The FBI, well, I think that they might already know the results of the DNA because they have sent it to the FBI. The hair is what really is interesting to me. The hair. And again, they would not have found that hair had the FBI not came back in that house after Pima County released it. FBI came back in that house and they found a hair. 42 days. Again, I think it's a very interesting excuse that they said that they broke apart on the car and they had to fix it. I don't buy it.
Task force that the FBI operates. Okay. The gang task force, the one you used to run in LA. And explain a little bit of those dynamics, Maureen, about, how that operates as a whole.
Being on a task force with other agencies?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's just wonderful work. You get to work so many different things. You're just a team. You have to build bridges. You have to get in there, roll up your sleeves, do what needs to be done. You're working outside your basic framework that you had as an FBI agent. Things are oftentimes much more fluid. Especially on the violent crimes task force, that's a very fluid situation that you're thrust into on a daily basis. You just don't know what's going to hit you, what's going to hit your squad, and where you're going to end up. So you learn a lot of really valuable information. You learn how, like, for example, I learned how the sheriff's department worked. I was reporting to a sergeant with the LA County Sheriff.
Mike, according Takash Patel, he had an aircraft waiting on the evidence that they were going to take straight to Quantico. It could have been from Tucson to Quantico in 3.5 hours, maybe even less. Nanos sends it to Florida. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Sheriff's Department, Anthony Rivera, and then a captain, Jim Thornton. And we just, it was just running and gunning, basically, a lot of it.
Bad guys.
Chasing bad guys, but we were also working within an interesting framework. So we had a federal prosecutor working with us because our main case was a great big case that was involved the murder of a deputy, Jerry Ortiz. So we had a federal prosecutor, and we had at least one meeting a week. At the beginning, it was every day, but then it went to one meeting a week where we would divvy up everything that needed to be done and who was going to do it. And we would talk about, hammer time. How can the feds hammer them more, or can DEA pay for the wire? Can the feds handle this prosecution? Should we get the local DA to handle this portion of it? And it's just this giant chess game. It's just brilliant work, and
nice.
It's so cool to be part of.
Lisa.
Well, and thank you for that definition for the audience, because
Awesome.
this is why it's important for the nuances. When the sheriff stands up and says what he says, he doesn't tell you that there are multiple agencies assigned to these task force and they're funded by the feds. And so,
which can be a force multiplier.
Which is a force multiplier, right? Exactly. And so,
not only that, Mama Bear, where was we've got pictures of the crime scene there. They didn't even have tape up whenever Pima County was there. When the FBI got there, there was tape up. Pima County, you could walk on the damn yard. It's crazy.
So he kind of dodged around that. And that's why it's important to pay attention to the simple things.
I think
here.
even when the
he
FBI
locked the
was
feds
there
out
was
for the
times there
first 4
wasn't
days. I know that for a fact now.
Well, and the FBI director said that publicly this past week.
Right, but we double checked that. Okay.
Right.
And it's accurate. Unfortunately,
I don't know what you mean.
And how do I know that? Because I see some people in the chat asking. Okay. I'm going to show you how I know that. Number one, the very first press conference is the sheriff out on the grass there in the dark, and that answer that he has. The second press conference, he doesn't even have the FBI there. He's got his guy that had been working all night, and he says some really interesting things. One of the things I want you to pay attention to
Right here,
is the
listen.
fact that we now have learned there's a 56-minute potential gap, if not more.
Got to put the banner back up.
So he's trying to fill that gap with word salad. And here's what I mean.
My local media knows that. We'll get started. I believe it was around noon yesterday, we got a call to the Guthrie residence that Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old.
Yeah, thank you so much, April. Weird that Savannah felt she had to call the hospital again. I mean, yeah, like your sister's there. She said she called the hospital and said the police are there. I think it would be taken care of, but maybe she's just like, I want to double check. That's the only thing I can think of, but maybe she didn't fully believe her sister. I don't know. It's weird.
Was missing. We expended a lot of resources for a missing person that we typically always do. Our search, as I said yesterday.
Okay, so Bob, to your point earlier, I think we can all say, and we can confirm, that there is a 2-hour gap in search. Well, they get a phone call around noon. He said, we now know what the exact time of call was through the timeline. Okay. The CAD,
12:03.
right. So he says around noon, we get a call of Miss Guthrie missing. All right.
Around
That
noon,
is a
you
really specific radio response. And it makes sense now when you hear the 911 or the radio traffic from dispatch. If we put it together, they say the same thing. The dispatch is a bolo for Miss Nancy Guthrie, and it gives a height, weight, last seen 10 p.m. the night before, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Standard issue cop.
But I want to make a point here. It does say 10 p.m. the night before. However, the official paper of Nancy going missing, it says that she went missing on 1/31 at 6:30. 6 or 6:30, I can't remember, p.m., which is the time she was last seen in that Uber. So they're saying something, on the radio. Then they're saying on the paper it's 6. 6. Very interesting there.
Court under the umbrella,
Which again tells me that they weren't taking Annie's and Tommaso's account for that.
Of she's missing, she's a walk away, or it could be a walk away. Okay. Now, that's important.
Okay. Nancy is sharp as a tack. Her body can't make it to take out to check the mail most days. Why do they think Nancy is walking away? She's completely in her head, and her body would not even allow her to walk away. So why? And again, I'm going to take up for Savannah on this when she says we kept telling them she couldn't walk away, right?
Because the first response to this, for what the sheriff just said, and what we've talked about many times
Was Sheriff Nanos not listening?
On the show here, is they went in with a certain mindset.
They sure
But
did.
who was giving them that mindset is my question.
Now, Chris is right. Who was giving them that mindset? Was it... Now, Savannah is saying, no, you don't understand. We're telling them mom can't walk away. Were they listening to the family? Or was the family making it seem like she could have walked away? But Savannah's saying, no, you're not understanding. We kept telling them she couldn't walk away. Was Sheriff Nanos just like, you don't know her, you don't realize how far an elderly person can go? Confusing, it is. Very complicated.
And we know that it was the reporting party. And who's the reporting party?
I don't know about
The
that.
family.
And we also know that there is...
It was the reporting party, but sometimes the police may think you don't know what you're talking about, maybe as well. So I'm kind of going to disagree with that a little bit. Or it could be family members telling Savannah and Cameron what they want to hear. I told them that mom couldn't go anywhere, but really they're telling the police maybe she did walk off.
Mixed messaging here.
Lots.
We think there was a medical issue. We think she took an Uber. We think the paramedics left the door open.
I don't think it's political at all.
Next question from for the sheriff. How'd they get in? We're not talking about that. Can we hear the 911 call? We're not releasing that. Can you tell us the data points that you have of how they might gone in? We're not going to discuss that any further. Listen to how he starts answering the public before the FBI
Savannah
gets
was not
into
there.
this.
No,
Okay.
This is when it first happened.
We saw some things at the home that were concerning to us. We believe now, after we process that crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime. This is
Okay. The panel.
After we finish processing that crime scene, we have a crime scene. Well, yeah, because you just said it was a crime scene, dum-dum.
We saw some things that were concerning to us. John, you start.
Well, we don't know. We have no information as to what the condition was inside the house. There's, of course, the blood on the front porch, the doors being open with somebody with more than a belt-sized IQ finally came on scene and said, maybe paramedics didn't leave the doors open.
Bell-size IQ.
Maybe this was arranged. So it could be that as you got some experienced people on scene, situations that have been dismissed or overlooked were being identified at that point as, hey, we better get homicide guys out here. This doesn't look right. I don't think we're going to know for a long time what other things they might have seen.
911 and I think the Lyft or the whatever I can have an Uber video. Yeah. Guys, I am at 3 hours. This is my second live of the day. I'm going to end it here. I've got to be up at 5:30 in the morning. I want to thank you all so much. If you want to watch the rest of that, make sure you go over to our friend Chris McDonough from the interview room. Link is provided in the description. You guys are absolutely amazing. I appreciate each and every single one of you for being here, taking out time of your day. It's very valuable, and I truly do appreciate every single one of you for being here. We're going to stay on it. I didn't even get to all of my points from my notes, but we can finish some of it later. I think this was just an amazing live that Chris had here with this panel guest. This is truly one of a very, very complex case, and with truly one of the most dumbest sheriffs out of a nation of 340 million people. But I do believe it will be solved. I do. It will be solved with DNA, or someone comes forward or whatever. It will be solved. We'll see, though. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Special thanks to mods, members, everyone in chat. Really, really do appreciate you guys. Get some rest. Hug your loved ones. You only get so many trips around the sun. Thank you all. Good night, everyone.